In that week when the Orville wasn't showing on that third. Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Watching Sundays. This week we're going to cover two shows, Walking Dead and the Orville. Now this is how it's going to work. We're going to put timestamps in the description below. So if you don't care about Orville, you can skip to Walking Dead. And if you don't care about Walking Dead, just watch this portion of the show. So we're going to start with the Orville.
The Orville is finally back.
Yes.
Yes. Obviously last week there was a void in my watching TV schedule, but I'm glad that it's back. Life feels good again. This episode, Majority Rules, was fantastic.
It was really good. I have a small little nitpick that I have to address in this episode, but before we get to that, so Sargus 4, apparently like a replicant mirror Earth, so to speak.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's almost like they did an episode to satire the whole social kind of landscape that we live upon.
Yeah.
The dislikes and likes that give you that dopamine hit for our society. And so I remembered watching Black Mirror.
Yeah, that Bryce Dallas Howard episode. Yeah. It definitely mirrors a lot, Black Mirror. It definitely mirrors a lot of the stuff that they used in the episode where, a lot of it was socially driven with the likes and dislikes and upvotes and downvotes. There's a lot of parallels you can draw between the two episodes. And, the first thing I laughed at was like these kind of like new-ish phablets that they had in like that was shaped like gravestones almost. That it's just like
it had this like 80-degree or 75-degree angle to to every design. It was almost like making fun of the technology that we live in today. For me, that's what I got from it. But I did appreciate it because it kind of represented their up arrow and down arrow.
I didn't see that. That's a really good point to make.
It had the angular designs for everything in this world. What surprised me was that how much it felt really familiar, how close it is to our society.
Yeah, it's not. We don't have to reach very far to kind of see how it satires our current.
Exactly.
Our current, like the way things are going in our world.
It's like all this sheep that control the outcome of anything. There's like no laws except for majority rules from the title of the episode. But
it actually also kind of points out the flaws in a system that is sort of like an absolute democracy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the mob kind of represented where we are right now currently. I just Trump was in my head when
without getting too much into detail, definitely it was kind of like the majority in this world kind of echoed sort of the like vocal minority of our world, where kind of like they were embracing this sort of truth that if enough people believe it, like the majority is the truth, but they don't care about the facts, or they don't care about anything else other than the fact that this guy's got downvotes and this guy's got upvotes, and they're a bad person if they have downvotes, no matter what their story is. There was also this interesting allegory on capitalism where they were kind of like briefing themselves before going into the mission. He was like, "This is money. You give it to them, and they give you something back, hopefully in exchange of value."
Oh yeah, that was really interesting, and
I kind of forgot too, like how they set up the Orville in the beginning. How it wasn't a capitalist society. It was just like everybody kind of worked together.
Luckily, it wasn't too serious of a note because LaMarr really kind of showcased his character in this episode. Yeah. Because even when you start watching, even when you watch this whole episode, it never felt too serious to me. Like you could connect parallels to the things that are wrong in our society, but like at the end of the day, it was really funny. It was really funny, and it was almost mocking our society. It's like recognizing the kind of world we live in, and just kind of lightheartedly making fun of it.
I kind of feel like they were positioning John to be kind of a mirror of Trump, so to speak, because like when he was on the chat, aka The View, what do you think made her so great? And the way he described the statue,
it kind of resembled like the lack of knowledge, or kind of just the ignorance of knowing. right?
Right.
Just shooting out answers out there.
It reminded me of the way, support him or not, it reminded me of the way Donald Trump speaks, and you know how he was just like, what makes this woman important to our country? And he was like,
well, she did a lot.
Yeah, she went out, she got out, she did some things, and
she
that was
did
good.
What she could.
That was a good thing.
She did what she could.
So yeah,
without getting too serious about any kind of the political sides here, like I mean, it was lighthearted.
He does sound like that.
It was lighthearted. It was humorous, and that's why you can laugh at it because what can you do these days?
Yeah. Oh, and it also the episode, how it kind of like came to a head. Lucella, the way Lucella,
she's pretty, by the way.
Yeah, the way that she.
I wonder what she's on. If she's been on anything else.
I'm not sure, but you can always look up in IMDb.
Right.
But the way that she helped and kind of swayed things around for them, kind of also points out the flaws in that system. So if the majority is the truth, then you can very easily sway that majority with misinformation, and that's what they basically did to win in the end, right? They flooded their feed
with misinformation,
and it kind of worked out in their favor.
But obviously they did that just to show how quickly a mob can turn.
Right.
From the title of this episode, it's very mirror to like, the upvotes of thumbs up in comment sections and the likes you get in Facebook and the hearts you get in Instagram. It releases this dopamine effect where everybody feels like a community, or like everyone just feels like they're together, even though they don't know anyone that's in there.
I kind of felt like this episode was also kind of like Twitch meets broadcast TV. Mm-hmm. Like their mainstream news networks were kind of displaying this chat on the bottom, and they were all kind of chiming in and expressing their opinions, and I thought I was watching like a Twitch stream. It was kind of funny.
I mean, just to follow that up, make sure you like this episode, share it if you can, and subscribe.
Alright, so final thoughts on the Orville. Story.
Story was great. I would give it a 4 out of 5. What about you?
I would give it a 4 out of 5 as well. Story was top notch.
Who was your MVP?
My MVP was John LaMarr.
Mine too. This episode was for him and showcase his character, so I agree.
And the Kelly meter, as you put it.
The Kelly meter. I wish I could put up a graphic. Maybe we'll put up a graphic. There's gonna be a Kelly meter every episode we cover the Orville, from 0 to 5. I'm gonna put her to the 3 here.
I'll say 3 out of 5. There wasn't much for her to do again. I mean, all she did was just kind of react to the situation. Best
episode so far? I still think Krill was the best episode. It was a satire to our own civilization. I think every episode is almost like a satire to our civilization, but just
I mean, yeah, if you think about it, a lot of TV shows kind of just do that, right? When they try to be topical, they like to mirror the stuff that's happening in our world.
Yeah, and I appreciated this episode. It was a good one. And if you guys this is the first time you've checked us out, our channel is really about bringing the casual to the nerd side of the force, or something like that. If you guys want to,
if the nerds reside in the forest, that statement is true.
So my casual perspective, if you guys want to catch up to this series in particular, in the beginning I hated the Orville. We'll put some of those links in the description below.
Yep. And
now I love it.
Yep.
Moving on to The Walking Dead, this episode, The Damned. What did you think?
It was a great episode. Right out of the gate, they came out with guns blazing, literally.
It was like Mad Max style with their,
They just kind of rolled up on them.
Car.
They just rolled up on them, started shooting, and then all hell broke loose, basically. So it seems like a lot of things are working out for the survivors.
I just think the whole time I'm just like something wrong has to happen, right?
Right.
Things are going way too well, like we said in our last episode.
They did run into a few snags here and there. I mean, one of the outposts did release some walkers on Carol's group and hit them with a concussion grenade or whatever it was. There's minor hiccups here and there in their plans, so it's not really going perfectly. But as I told you when we were watching this episode, at some point something is going to go wrong. It's just a question of what goes wrong, right? And I think we got a taste of that in this episode, primarily with Tara and Jesus kind of having this like infighting between each other. How do they want to do this? Do they want to be killers? Do they want to be peaceful? Like, how do they want to present themselves?
I just feel like that's that's been like the line between, like, where does the line get drawn, you know,
right.
humanity, the line of humanity in this type of world. And I'm kind of going back and forth. At one point I agree with Rick, you know what, just kill them all, you know, that saves you the stress of worrying about who's surviving and who you let live that might come back and kill you. Yeah, the balancing act is a difficult thing to do. I mean, I'm more along the lines of Jesus at the moment, just because, like, at the end of the day, you go back to how to differentiate yourself from the group that you are condemning, right? You're condemning this group for their actions or how they do things. They kill people, they take what they want, and they steal things. Do they want to be the same group? Do they want to just kind of go in, kill everybody, and be like, this is our town? I think that's the balancing act that you mentioned, you know. At this point in this type of world, I feel like whatever group that exists, I think each group is justified in their actions, because this is a whole new world. It's a whole new set of rules. There are no rules. It's survive, it's kill or be killed. And so, well, I'll disagree a little bit, only because we can't really justify their actions. We can, however, come to terms that everybody's fighting for what they believe in. Both sides have families. They have people they have to think about and they have to fight for. They can't just, like, you know, go down without a fight. And I think that was this episode, really. It was like there was a lot of back and forth between morality and just go off guns blazing and killing things on sight. You know, it happens to Rick when he goes into that room when there's a baby. It happens to Morgan when he remembers his conversation with Rick about killing them all or letting people live. And it happens with Jesus and Tara, like you said. One thing I do want to point out that was kind of funny to me, it seems like they're like Survivor Team 6. Everybody's Agent 47. One shot to the head, boom, boom, boom. Everybody's got perfect accuracy, right? And then, like, the other group at the outpost. I'm just like, the whole time is like, they're missing every shot. I mean, you can see the angle, the camera angle. There's like 2 or 3 people there, and they're just shooting. And there's a guy like, here, and there's a guy hitting there. Everything but the guy. Yeah, basically. And then you cut to Morgan, who just, like, takes up 2 guns and just, like, one shot everybody. Morgan's a Jedi. You think he's a Jedi? Yeah, I mean, we touched upon this before when he came back and he made his return with his bow, and he was, like, all kinds of martial arts, like kung fu fighting. Okay, but he might be a Jedi that's just struggling between the dark side and the light side of the Force right now. He's a gray Jedi. He's struggling with whether or not he wants to be his pacifist side versus his do what needs to be done, Rick's right kind of side. And I think Ezekiel is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters in the show. I mean, same. Apart from his Shakespearean, like, Shakespeare in the park. Shakespeare in the park moments. He's faking it till he makes it. Right. I love that line. I know. It was awesome. How did he say? Fake it till you make it, baby. Fake it till you make it, baby. I mean, he has to exude that kind of confidence to his group. He's the king, and, like, any momentary lapse of weakness, it just spreads like a virus. And I feel like when he said that, it kind of humanized him a little bit. It made me feel like he's actually aware of how ridiculous he sounds all the time. And, you know, sometimes we'll go forth. Our second will bring the third. And I feel like every time he speaks, I'm witnessing a cosplayer, a living cosplayer fanboy, living out his fantasy. Like, he literally said, that's a good one. I'm gonna be a king, I'm gonna act like a king, and everybody's gonna believe I'm a king. But at the end of the day, like, it's like the virus happened in the middle of the Comic-Con, and he made it out, and then he stayed in character the whole time. Exactly. Basically, as far as Ezekiel goes, Shiva makes an appearance in this episode as well. That obligatory CG shot, it looked good. I'm a big fan of every time. I was really disappointed last season when he came in, and it just looked so bad when he came in the middle of that fight scene where I didn't think it looked bad. Where they almost kind of were gonna lose. It looked bad, man. No, I thought it looked awesome, and it looked awesome in this episode too. This episode, it looked great. So the diversion ends up, they were just waiting for the people that they killed to rise up from the dead. But we were talking about this, but, like, at the end of it, towards the end of the episode, it didn't seem that way. Like, some of the dead rose, but then it didn't really affect the outcome of that. Well, I think that comes down to whether or not they were shot in the head, or if they died from, like, you know, their wounds, which was a great plan, by the way, because
At first, I didn't really see.
I thought that would have been the plan. I thought that would be a better plan, is just to kill some people and then hang out for a little bit.
I think that was the plan. I think originally we thought it was going to be a diversion. When that girl said they don't need to move in on us because all of the enemies are going to start rising from within, and I thought it was a great plan, and I thought that was a great way for them to not only do damage to them, but not necessarily kind of risk all of their lives trying to take that outpost by force.
Yeah, and there's just all this guns blazing right in this episode, and the whole time is somebody's gotta die.
Yeah,
and then towards the end of the episode,
so who is gonna die? That's the question. We thought Morgan was gonna die for a short period of time until he rose and became
Agent 47.
Jedi or Agent 47 again. So yeah, we end the episode with Rick meeting somebody that he's
Morales.
Was he on the Force?
He was part of the group when they decided to go to the CDC, and he broke off from them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I guess he met up with Negan, and now he's part of Negan's gang, and full
Full
circle.
circle, yes.
Holds Rick at gunpoint, and that's how the episode ends.
And so what I think is that, as Rick was brought back down to Earth with that baby, pointing that gun in his face
brought him back up.
Brought him back up to
Rick.
Yes. And so I think if anyone's gonna die that's not in the survivor group, it's gonna be Morales. He's gonna have to go.
Well, I thought this episode was pretty good. I would say that I would give this a 4 out of 5 for this one.
I would give it also a 4 out of 5. Not perfect, but it definitely had some high points.
I would say Ezekiel really kind of brought it to a 4 from a 3. And I still think, let's do the Dwight meter here from 1 to 5. Is he a traitor? Is he not a traitor? Because that place was supposed to have guns. So my Dwight meter has moved to a 4.
My Dwight meter is at a 2 still. I think a lot of the information that they gave to the survivors did work out in the end. I think they caught on to what he was doing.
You think Negan has caught on to this?
I think someone in the Saviors caught on to what Dwight was doing and sort of warned them about it. So everything that they've done according to his information has worked out.
Yeah.
Until the very end where they didn't have the guns in that house. So I think they caught on.
Okay.
They prepared for that, and it showed in the other scene where Ezekiel finds out that the other group knew that they were coming.
Right.
There is a possibility that he's a traitor. Yeah. But there's also a possibility that they found out, because we haven't seen a lot of him. You know, they might have found out, and they have him holed up. And,
that's a possibility too.
In prison too. All right, that'll do it for our review of The Orville and The Walking Dead. If you enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell notification for more, and we'll see you guys next week.